Okay, we're gonna get started. Welcome, everybody. We get started in just a couple minutes. For those of you joining us, would love to know in the chat a little bit about you, maybe your name, where you're calling in from, and if you're here representing an organization, which one? Would love to hear from all of you just in the chat. Feel free to pop an answer. Name, location. I'll start. And go. All right, we got Santa Barbara, Switzerland, Stonington, Colorado, Austin, New York. Thank you, John. Awesome, folks from all over. Well, it's so good to see you all here today. We have people enrolled to join us from all over the world, and we're really grateful that you're going to be spending this time with us learning about the incubator launched by With Life, a partnership of InRhythm and Capital Institute. So yeah, we're really looking forward to spending this hour with you. My name is Alex. I'm on the InRhythm team, and I'll be guiding you through today. We have our whole team here who you'll have the opportunity to meet. But really today is all about walking you through why an incubator, why right now, meeting your mentors. And we're going to do a little bit of peer-to-peer engagement. That's a really core part of our program. And so we want to give you the opportunity to meet some of the other folks here in the room. So we're going to be going into breakout rooms, kind of like a speed dating experience on the second half of the call. And then we'll have lots of time for Q&A, answer any questions you have. And of course, at the end, we would love to invite anybody interested to apply. But we hope today will provide a little bit of a flavor of what the incubator program is all about and give you the opportunity to ask any questions you have. And with that, I think I'm just going to go right ahead and hand it over to you, Jeff, Jeff is going to be sharing with us a little bit more about the bigger picture and why we launched this program.
Hey, thank you, Alex, and welcome everyone. Super exciting to see you all here. Oh, and my view just changed, so I only see myself.
I spotlighted you. Is it weird?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to unspotlight you. Make it more casual. Sorry.
So, hey, it's great to see some old friends and lots of new faces. So, we're super excited to be launching this. This is, first and foremost, want to say this is a collaboration between InRhythm and the Capital Institute, and we've launched a container for this. And I hope you've all seen the announcement called With Life. And we're doing this because we recognize there's a unique importance and unique time. I'm sure all of you are here because you're all concerned about where we're at socially, environmentally, politically, spiritually, in our communities, in our schools, in our businesses. And we've been, between the Capital Institute and InRhythm, we looked at today for this, we are amazed. We've supported over 2,500 different companies and individuals connect with our work and connect with regeneration through our courses, through our Introduction to Regenerative Economics course, through our Regenerative Design Labs, through our foundation courses. And we wanted to launch this incubator because we recognize for all of these shifts we're trying to make, for all the transformations you are all trying to do, organizations are at the center of it. So our theory of change is whatever we want to do in the world, we have to do it with others, and therefore we have to do it in some form of organization. So we define organization really broadly. It's not just a company. It's not just a traditional LLC or something like that. It is very broadly defined, and we have folks on our team that are specialized actually in thinking about alternate structures, and we'll get into that. But just wanted to tell you a little bit more kind of from our team, what's the impetus to launch this? And as I mentioned, we have supported a number of, thousands of people now connect with our frameworks, connect with our work, connect with the idea of regeneration. And for some, that's been all they needed, and that's been great. And they've been able to take those frameworks and run with it and create the change they wanted to see in the world, create the transformation. Um, for others, they've reached out to us and we've been providing one-on-one consulting support, design support, management support. And for and we wanted to launch this incubator because we recognize it's actually only a small handful of people that had the resources or time to receive that one-on-one support from us. So what this incubator really is at its heart is a way for us to make our frameworks, our approach a lot more accessible and a lot more inclusive. And so we're doing this in this 12-month launch, 12-month container, where we're able to support more people all at once. And most importantly, you are all able to support one another. So peer-to-peer learning is a huge part of this. So I'm going to keep my part brief. A lot of the specific information about what the incubator is on our website, but I will mention that there are basically two tracks you can consider. One is for startups, and this will give you everything you need to go from ideation to launch of a new initiative, new company, new product, whatever it is you're trying to start up. And just to give a sense of kind of the scale, we estimated that we've been working with startups over the years, and the startup has probably invested an average of around $70,000 in time and of our time resources to be able to have us support them one-on-one to launch their startup. And so we're really hoping that the entry point for this incubator being $15,000 is something that will really make this a lot more open, a lot more accessible to many people. The other track is to support established organizations that are trying to make some shift of some kind towards more regenerative operations, towards a healthier organization. And so, for example, one company we've worked with over the last 4 years, just want to tell their story as an example of the type of support you would get in the incubator that hopefully we can provide in a much more accessible way. So this company came to us 4 years ago in crisis. They had their CEO had been ousted by a vote of no confidence from the staff and from the board. It's a global organization, and they're with different continental regional sections, and all the non-US based sections were very disillusioned and felt the resources and governance of the organization was very centralized just in the US. They had shadows of this was, of course, we supported them through the pandemic. We supported them through the racial reckoning of George Floyd here in the US, the murder of George Floyd. And all of this was things we helped them work through. How are they embracing race and equity in their operations? How are they creating a new governance model? And over that 3-year time, we helped them create a more equitable global governance structure. We helped them create a new business model that supported that commitment to equity and committed and to a decentralized organization. And most importantly, we helped them embrace a regenerative network model of leadership. And I just had a call with the CEO, the new CEO of this company, and he told me a great story, which is right as we had started supporting them, they had put out a call for, they tried to hire a membership coordinator, and they had very little interest and had a very sort of administrative level of candidates that applied. And after their work with us, we helped them think through new roles and responsibilities, new roles for the organization, and in particular embrace a network decentralized model. And they've recently put out a new hire for kind of the equivalent position, but with much more emphasis on a network coordination and network facilitation. And he called me because he was just over the moon with the quality of candidates and the number of candidates they were getting, having shifted their posture in the world to be more about this approach that we helped bring them to. So I hope that gives you a little bit of sense of what the incubator is, what it means to us, and why we're launching it. And I'll pass it back to Alex for us to continue.
Thanks, Jeff. So I just dropped a link in the chat. As Jeff mentioned, there's a lot of the nitty-gritty details about the program, its design, the flow, all that available on the website if you want to go into more detail. But we'd like to now take some time to introduce you to the program mentors. These are the folks who are going to be guiding you through this program, supporting you to either reimagine your or to launch your startup organization or to reimagine your existing organization. And so, yeah, we wanted to give you the opportunity to get to know each of us a little bit better. And so I'm excited to introduce Ryan from our team. Ryan's going to kick us off. And just something I wanted to say about Ryan is that he's really the kind of guy that you go to if you need help workshopping a complex problem. He's going to listen to you, cut through all the fat in a way that helps you to get to the root of the issue and design a pathway forward in a way that aligns with regenerative design patterns and principles. And so he's the guy that I go to if I'm having trouble figuring out a path forward on something super complex and hairy and just like really challenging. And so he's my guy for that. And I think he's going to add a lot of value to the program in that way, because as we all know, organizations are super complex. And we need that kind of help to mentor us through those complex issues. So Ryan, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks, Alex. And hi, everyone. My name is Ryan, and I spent most of my career as a leader and a communicator, both in faith-based contexts and in corporate contexts. I started my career as a pastor, managing and communicating in small faith communities and managing teams of people. And a lot of my passion and skills in communication took me into corporate communications. I worked for a large international telecommunication company where I was the editor of a news cycle and developed communications monitoring for employees, 14,000 employees globally, where we delivered targeted communications to different employees by region, department, and in different languages. And some of my greatest passions here on the team as an organizational design consultant is building operational structures and communication structures so that people can be able to communicate internally and externally in a way that creates health for everyone involved in the organization. And I'm going to be introducing next Francisca. And as you will hear in a second, she is a lawyer, and I don't know what that brings up for you, but what it has meant for me in working with her is having a member of the team that I can absolutely trust, does not miss details. Her ability to see patterns and manage complexity is incredible, and her ability to speak to how those details are affecting the whole is just an invaluable resource. So, Francisca?
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's good to see everyone on this call. Yes, I'm a lawyer, and no, I don't like being a lawyer. No, that's not true. I'm South African. I was born and bred there. I studied law there. I was a corporate lawyer in South Africa for many years. And I got tired with the idea of making rich people richer. I was really enamored by how efficient one can be in the corporate world, but I felt like, it's a little hard because you just make rich people richer and there's so much impact that you can make in the world. So I started looking for something else, and I found this really cool concept in the US called the benefit corporation, and I was super interested in that, and then moved to the US to study an MBA in global social and sustainable enterprise, and really got into the social enterprise space through that, and also a little bit of energy policy. I worked for a while for the Center for the New Energy Economy in Colorado under Governor Ritter. And then I got back into law, but really focused on social enterprise and impact-driven businesses. I did that for a couple of years. And then I moved on to international law, where I was the head of the Office of Civil and Criminal Justice Reform at the Commonwealth Secretariat in London for a while. And so that was my last position. And then I came to NRhythm, where I'm an organizational design consultant. Yeah, so it's really, really great to be part of this team. And as Ryan says, I do enjoy focusing on the details and also zooming out and seeing the bigger picture. I would also like to tell you about another colleague that we have. She's not unfortunately here today, but she's also a lawyer. Her name is Tanya Price, a brilliant lawyer. I worked with Tanya on social enterprises many years ago, and in another law firm. So Tanya, she's from Michigan. She studied there. She was a clerk at the Michigan Supreme Court. She was a fellow at Yale Law School at the Legal Services Organization after that. And then, as I said, she moved into the social enterprise practice. And Tanya has this unique ability of helping small organizations and large organizations with incredible, it's detail orientation, it's care. Tanya has a high degree of care for all of her clients. She also started her own law firm, and she was very successful. NRhythm was actually one of her clients. And now she is also part of this team. So it's my pleasure to introduce you all to Trey. If you don't know him yet, Trey is the founder of NRhythm, and just a little something about him. He has this unique and really exceptional ability to see the whole, and he has the perseverance to bring vision to reality in all aspects of his life. And I mean, you will see that in the work you do here with NRhythm, but also, I mean, it shows up in other aspects of his life. As I said, something unique about him, he's an incredible ultra athlete, both running and swimming. So Trey is just this incredible force and energy at NRhythm, and it's my pleasure to hand over to him. Thanks, Trey.
Thank you, Fran. Welcome, everyone. Super excited. This is a endeavor that we've talked about doing collectively for a long time now, and just feel like we're coming to the point of where we believe this is something that we can do and really create an exceptional experience for you and others who may choose and have the opportunity to participate with us. My experience is a lifelong entrepreneur. I've started a dozen plus organizations in all kinds of different industries and spaces, a lot of technology companies and community-based organizations, and then had the pleasure of working in a global organization where I helped to start community-based and agricultural-based organizations all over the world. Spent time in 20 plus countries working with, owner operators to C-level execs, both in small and large organizations, and super complex partnerships and collaborations, all with the intention of being able to bring, as we call it, more life to both the people that are a part of these projects, the communities that would be impacted by these projects, and the world that we know needs to shift in being able to support the life that's on this planet. So I'm excited to be a part of a team of individuals that can serve you in ways that bring some uniqueness and diversity, and be able to see the potential that exists both in you as a person, the team that you're a part of, and the organizational purpose that you're trying to enable. And I do believe that is something that is a unique genius of mine, be able to see things that others may not see, and be able to support creating structures that bring that genius, uniqueness, and potential out that tends to be capped and limited in most designs and or just from our limiting beliefs. So I'm excited about being a part of supporting you and this community as we enable new organizations or existing organizations to bring to life things that are really meant to be. And that's quite exciting for me. I also want to introduce a colleague that I've known. We were just having a meeting this morning, John Fullerton, and where he said, I think it's a little over 10 years. And I was looking back at it, it's actually been 14 years, almost 14 years. And we were brought together in a organization called the Savory Institute, and actually both saw Alan Savory as mentors of ours. Alan really inspired us to see things holistically, to engage in ways that see things through living systems or ecosystems, and that inspired us both. One, John to come into the economics and finance space with a real reimagining of what our economies could look like and how we could put money as a tool, as an investment tool, to work in ways that could really shift how we see business and how we do work in communities all over the world. And as a result, I went into the organizational space. So here we've come back together many, many years later in a real deep partnership. And I can't be be happier than I feel right now to welcome John to being one of the team members in supporting you and your organization. So John, welcome to the team.
Oops, you're on mute, John.
They're still teaching me. 14 years, time flies. That's incredible, Trey. So great to be with you all. I have a story that's kind of, some of you know it, I recognize a lot of familiar faces, but I spent nearly 20 years on Wall Street, global capital markets, Tokyo, London, New York, then venture capital, and then walked away in 2001 and had just sort of an instinct that my time there was done and I need to find something else to do more purposeful with my life. And, you know, a bunch of things happened and I discovered the environmental crisis as a systemic issue. And really now for over the last 20 years, I've been in this search for a serious response to the what we now call polycrisis, which, you know, I may have anticipated 15 years ago, but other people anticipated many decades ago. And so I've been a student of many of these people. And I guess I would say, I think the collective, you know, business and policy community is still living in a different era, a different way of seeing, a different way of understanding. And so I've been just very gripped with this idea of understanding and then articulating an alternative way of seeing the problems other people see, but seeing them through a holistic living systems lens. So I'm up in the clouds most of the time. Ask my wife; she'll confirm that. And I think the partnership within Rhythm is a beautiful yin yang that helps us bring these big concepts into practical operational reality. And so I rely on Rhythm for the operations of Capital Institute. Just so you know, I'm eating the dog food here, or whatever that expression is. And I've sat on the board of Savory Institute and watched them transform over the years with the support of Trey and the Rhythm team. So I'm really excited to be able to have an offering here that people who take our courses can move from and help operationalize their various activities. So I'm delighted to be part of this. And now going back, I think my job is to introduce Jeff, and then we'll go back to Alex, I suspect. But Jeff, I've also known for a long time. He and I sat on a board together, the Savory board together for a few years as well. And, you know, the thing that is special about Jeff within our group is he doesn't like to be referred to as the legitimate academic, but he is. He's the only one of us that actually has studied in a serious way ecology and living system science. So there are times when this work can drift into metaphors and touchy-feely, and Jeff has a way of keeping it real and keeping it grounded in in actual science, and but also has a beautiful yin yang himself in being having a serious Buddhism practice that he brings to it. So I just one quick example of that. This concept of a landscape is the idea that actual real landscapes in real living systems are where different ecosystems interact and connect, and that diversity, that multidisciplinary, if you translate that into human thinking, the need for diversity of thought and diversity of practices is very much embedded in the design of this landscape. So whether it's a cryptocurrency project that wants to go deep and engage with ecological living systems organizations, the idea of the landscape is that this is where these two ecosystems will actually meet and be able to benefit from each other's expertise, as opposed to everyone sitting in one ecosystem and not having that benefit. So with that as an introduction, Jeff, back to you.
Great. Thank you, John. Yes, I often refer to myself as a recovering academic. So I did start my career in academia. I left it many, many years ago now, wanting to apply my time and my resources to something outside the ivory tower and more directed. I was lucky enough to have some wonderful mentors early in my career making that shift, and ended up working from a programmatic standpoint, from a development standpoint, and eventually from a management and executive standpoint, different impact-oriented organizations focused on environmental work, sustainability work, urban environment, race and equity. My last positions were all focused on building networks and collaboratives that are focusing on interdependent issues that many of us are focusing on. And as John mentioned, one of the things we're most excited about by this incubator is this is just one part of a landscape of different offerings. And as part of this incubator, will have connection points and access to everything in that landscape, not just this incubator. And that's really the concept of both In Rhythm and Capital Institute coming together. So super excited to support you all and bring wisdom and whatever experience I can to support these different projects. Another part of my background is I also have spent some time as a psychotherapist, and in this period of time where we're dealing with so much grief and loss and all the work we're doing, I'm finding it more and more applicable to the work that we're doing every day. So, and with that, I'll bring it all the way back to Alex. And what I think is Alex's most incredible genius is she just says yes to everything. And then figures out how to do it, and figures out not just how to do it for herself, but how to create structures and bring others along with her and help manage multiple things at once in very complex environments. So, and Alex, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Jeff. That's very sweet. Yeah, so a little bit about me, just to round out the introduction of the mentors. I have about 10 years of experience in project, operational, and organizational management, working across industries around the world, from agriculture and vertical farming to internet governance to finance, health, wellness, food, and beverage, mainly in the nonprofit and startup spaces. I've been on the In Rhythm team for about 5 years, and I've rotated around the whole company. I've dipped my toes in a little bit of everything. As Jeff said, I'm a yes lady. And so most recently, I really enjoyed working on as an operations lead for several of our outsourced operations clients, including Capital Institute, before we became official partners in this way. And but right now my focus is really on our internal operations as well as our products and programs. So I'll get to spend a lot of time with the incubator folks. And what I really love to do is to bring ideas to life using regenerative frameworks. And I'm really excited to bring that to all of your organizations if you choose to join us, which hopefully you will. Well, yeah, so that's a little bit about the mentors, the people who will be guiding you. You'll be spending a lot of time with us in the program as we support you to build out your organizations or transition your existing organization to a regenerative one. And as we've mentioned, a huge component of this program is the peer-to-peer experience. It's really giving the participants of the incubator the opportunity to learn from one another's businesses. And so in that spirit, we wanted to create a little bit of space for you all on this call to spend time with each other. So I think we're going to have time for one round of that. We're going to put you into breakout groups for, I think, 7 minutes. You'll be in groups of 3. And we want you to just get to know each other. Maybe do a round, introduce yourself, the organization you're representing, and we'd love for you to discuss how you're hoping the incubator program could transform your startup or organization. So I'll drop that in the chat just so that those of you who are more visual like me see it. Just copy paste here. Let's see. Okay, I got the right thing. All right, so yeah, what from the top one more time, introduce yourself, the organization you're representing, and then how are you hoping the incubator program could transform your startup or organization? You'll have 7 minutes and then we'll come back and we'll have the opportunity to, for any questions you all may have about the program, any burning questions or things you'd like to share. So I'm just gonna make sure everybody's in a room and then I'm gonna open those rooms and we'll see you in 7 minutes. If for any reason you end up in a room alone, please come back and we'll put you in a new room. I'm going to pause the record button again because we were going to ask if folks wanted to share any interesting synchronicities or a point of connection that you made. So maybe hearing those voices that we didn't get to hear in the groups, we could weave that in the way that Catherine's proposing. That'd be great. Go ahead.
So Anna Tiger. So Anna has immersed herself entirely in the regenerative world. So I think she's on her 4th or 5th course now. So she started with regenerative economics. She's done regenerative finance. She's looking at this incubator course. She's also doing another course that I've now forgotten. There's about 4, and she's completely immersed herself. Traditionally a social scientist. She's done a huge amount of work. She's in Swedish. She's moved from the fossil fuel industry and she's looking at forestry. And now she's realized that the whole regenerative framework of the interconnectivity is so essential that she doesn't need to choose an industry. She just needs to be part of driving the paradigm in terms of education, in terms of bringing all of the science together, and how that impacts all of those environments. So she's a professional coach, she's a facilitator, and she sees herself as having a fabulous role in really connecting all of the parts, very much with a scientific background, but fully immersed in all the frameworks that we're all trying to live. Then Grant, he has a very business-focused tech background, and he has a startup, an AI startup. Apparently, John already is aware of it, where he's looking to really embrace all of the regenerative frameworks right from the start, including the frameworks of how the AI algorithms work, which I think is incredibly fascinating. So my part on this is I've had a career in, you'd have to call it transformation. I've done everything from startups, multinationals, changing organizational structures at Microsoft from scratch, from Australia. And I've done 4 or 5 startups and quite a lot of organizational transformation, which has been lots and lots of heavy lifting. I've been a board director professionally for the past 15 years, and it's all again been around transformation, board transformation, and embracing governance frameworks to help drive change. And I've become really, really disillusioned with what's going on at board level around the whole ESG piece. I immersed myself in a year-long governance ESG program, which was life-changing, but also made me understand how inadequate board practices are, strategic frameworks are. I drove a B Corp from the chair seat from inception to execution, and now full embedding in the organization. And I am here in this course because I want to supply my clients at a board level with new board frameworks, how to change old ones. In fact, I've almost got to a point where I'm almost giving up on some of the old ones. It's too hard, and I'm going to go focus on the new ones and drive some critical mass from that. So that's me and us.
Thank you, Catherine. That's great. Wonderful to learn more about the people in the room and give us all a bit of a flavor of what everybody's working on. Maybe just in the interest of time, if anyone else didn't get the chance to introduce yourselves, maybe you could in the chat, and maybe because we have about 15 minutes left, and so I did want to give the opportunity for folks to ask any questions that they had. Does that sound good? Because I know how fast time can fly when we're asking questions. So, yeah. Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm gonna just open it up, I guess. If anybody has anything they'd like to ask the team, that would be, we would love to hear from you. You can use the raise hand feature just at the bottom if you'd like, or if you're not comfortable speaking out loud, you're welcome to put a question in the chat. We've got Caroline. Please go ahead.
Hi there. I actually have a question, and maybe you have this information available in the materials about this incubation process. For example, for startups, is that the amount that you were referring to, is that for the team, or is that on a per person basis? If there's if you all are planning also to have more than one cohort next year, like different starting times, for example, one that begins in November and then another one that's going to begin halfway through the year, just to have a kind of a little bit more of an idea of, if I had more than one team member, if that would be, part of the whole package that's part of being part of the incubation, right? It is me together with my team. If you could just provide a little bit more information, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. Yeah, the fee is for a team of 3 for the startup, relatively 3. We're not going to be, but that's a general size, and up to 5 for the organizational track. And if you'll see when you get into the details, the year is designed around our courses, like the design lab. You'll have access to all of Rhythm's courses and all of Capital Institute's courses. And we will have the opportunity, if you have other team members that want to join you, say just for the design lab, there's that option as well throughout the year. So we won't be running we'll only have one cohort starting in November for the 12 months, but there will be opportunities for other team members to come in and out as you may need. But we are asking for a core of 3 and 5 to really carry, and for us to liaison with and carry the work throughout the year.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Great question. Tracy, I think your hand was up next.
Hi, thank you. And I apologize if this was already provided online, but what does the time commitment look like maybe a per week or per month perspective from the participants? Can you hear me? No?
Yes, we heard you.
Oh,
I wasn't sure. Yeah, so I can jump in on that one. Really, it'll vary depending on the month. There might be some months that are a little bit more intensive than others, but we estimate on average between 1 to 5 hours a week. There's a time period in January, February where you'll be going through the design lab and the leadership program. Those are time commitments of about two sessions per week. And then thereafter, it'll kind of be more, it'll be dependent upon what you're working on with your mentor. as well as in some of the design sessions. So you'll see all of this laid out in a lot of detail in the program guide that we
Okay.
have online.
Sorry.
Really, yeah, a range of 1 to 5 hours a week, depending on what programs you're participating in, what design work you're doing with your mentor. It'll really be unique to your context. And but yeah, I hope if anyone from the team wants to add, that's kind of what we're imagining. And really what we recognize is that each of you are going to be coming in with unique needs, and the program will continue to evolve as we go, recognizing that we want to be able to create the best experience for you so that we can really grow your startup or transform your organization. And that's our commitment to you, is to evolve as we learn about you and the unique needs that you have.
And that was my part 2 of my question was, are there pathways? And it sounds like from early on with, I'm sorry, I forgot the first gentleman's name, Jeff. There might be, but for someone like myself that is not associated with a particular organization at this moment, I might be before the 15th of October, and it would be a long shot, but it would be in academia, which might be a little bit different of an animal. But can an organization just be me and 5 people I find, or 3 people I find, or does it have to be more structured?
Yeah, I mean, as I can jump in, we define organization very, very broadly, which is a group of people wanting to create something together. So it does not need to be a formal legal organization, although if you're in the startup track, we're imagining many will want to create a entity out of this. I would say if you are more in an exploratory mode for yourself personally, you wanting to know about regeneration, about yourself as a change maker, I'd encourage you to look at our fellowship program, which is really much more focused on building capacity as a change maker. We are imagining the incubator to be a team of people saying, yep, we have an idea, we want to come together, we want to do this together in the world. But that does not need to be a legal organization in any way. It could be a collaboration.
Right.
It could be folks at if it's an academic setting, it could be a group of academics wanting to create something together.
Well, let me give you a little bit more color. I mean, why not? So I applied for a new position at Berkeley Haas. It's the Berkeley Haas Entrepreneurship Hub, and it is I could share the posting with you later, but where I'm thinking is more like there might be an opportunity for either with that or with something else I've kind of got, I'm noodling, to kind of take what you teach us and then propagate it out, right? Like one of my pathways might be kind of a fractional, sustainable growth officer thing. And I can imagine taking your good work and wanting to kind of, and I don't want to simplify it and make it reductionist, but, for the purpose of comprehension, turn it into sort of like a framework that I could take to various companies, and you could make more soldiers like us. And that's kind of where my lens is, just because of the role I'm looking at. And like I said, kind of my past and my next career.
Great, Trace. I'd say let's talk.
Okay.
Let's talk offline. Reach out to me.
Perfect.
We can talk through it, and yeah, that sounds
Okay.
great.
Thanks, Tracy. We've got a few more hands. I see Faye.
Yes, already working quite a bit within Rhythm and Capital Institute, and Our Books is definitely taking shape. My question is, so there's so much skill and expertise in your team, and there's some really specific needs, like my C corporation lawyer is retiring. Can I actually access some legal advice and becoming a B Corp, and some very specific steps like that? Would we have access to that kind of, it would be, I guess, more one-on-one help?
Yeah, so I don't know if Fran is still around, but
Fran was on my mind, Trey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fran, you want to answer, or do you want?
Yeah, sure. In terms of the structure of the program, yes, there will definitely be time for one-on-one with the mentors that you met today. And yes, I'm a lawyer. Tanya is a lawyer. You know Tanya as well, and would be happy to provide some guidance. Since I'm not working for a law firm, and Rhythm is not a law firm, this can't be formal legal advice, but of course, very happy to guide you with the experience I have and converting to a benefit corporation, creating a benefit corporation or a co-op or whatever entity structure work is definitely something that we can assist with and that we really enjoy doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the intention for what folks will be diving into when you're just getting started in November, December for that startup track. If you have not chosen an entity yet, the intention is to spend time with you, helping you get clear on what that is and what your business model is. And Grant, we have a couple more. Yeah, Grant and then Kimberly. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, my question is just around kind of like the sequencing of the paths, and so I'm looking to join the incubator as a startup. We've been working on the technology for the last 8 months. We're just sort of incorporating right now, but in terms of the sequencing, like I would love to kind of really focus on, regenerative, if there's something to be considered during the incorporation phase or how the company is actually set up. And then also, I've already started with the whole financing side, but if I go down the path with VCs, extractive VCs, there'll be a day of reckoning one day, and I'd rather set up the financing track sooner than later with a more regenerative lens. And I was just wondering, can you kind of pull forward some aspects of the program based on where the startup is at, and then kind of, get back in sync with the program, like just how the path works and the information delivery, and if you have an urgent need.
Yeah, it's a great question, Grant. I can jump in there. We are imagining for both tracks that the beginning, as Alex mentioned, the beginning, the rest of this year is focused on really getting a really strong concept of the entity structure of your general business model. And then what will be leading everyone through is a design process using our framework, and then delving into specific aspects of that framework. We will have a sequence to that, but we'll be really agile and adaptable to each team. And so the sequence will sort of form a backbone from a general approach, but again, having this team is available to you, and are there specific needs at any time, then we are here. Our main goal is just to be adaptive and work with you for what your needs are. And then you can think of the sort of the coursework as having a particular sequence, but the design work, the mentorship, the one-on-one help, that's all unique to where each of you are at, each team is at, and what you're needing at the time.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Grant. We do have 2 minutes left, so I want to just acknowledge that our team is available to stay on and respond to the remaining questions, but just wanted to give anybody space who does need to head out at the top of the hour. Please feel free. We will be circulating a recording, and we will be available to respond to any questions or have one-on-ones with you. We'll include that in our follow-up. I just wanted to make sure we had the chance to cover that for anybody who has to hop off, but would love to hear from Kimberly and then Anna.
Thank you. Thank you all, first of all, for the work that you do and the leadership that you provide. Grant's question actually addressed what I originally raised my hand for, but just to dive in a little bit more specifically, when you talk about being paired with a mentor, is it that throughout the program you have a mentor on your team, or you have access to the full mentor team?
Yeah, so I'll answer that. The intention is for you to have access to the full mentor team. So you can imagine, depending upon your context, like Grant's question about finance, that may be something that he would engage myself or John on, or you have an idea of how you're trying to land this in living system science, and you want to talk about that with Jeff. Depending upon where you are in your context, you're going to have access to the full breadth and depth of this mentor team. Though there may be some that you may spend more time with, depending upon what's going on in your organization. The intention is that you have the ability to utilize the entire resource base based on what makes sense in your situation.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I'm really interested in the full program and understand, or think I understand that there is really a flow to the whole program, but then you have the opportunity to, because like Grant, I'm in the process on another startup, having done my first one in 2006 called EcoMom, and getting back into that now. Having learned and had big failures and big successes with that, and learned a lot. But really excited about this new project I'm working on. But I definitely am concerned with the duration of the program being a year, and wanting to move faster on that with my startup. But the flip side is really understanding from a natural systems perspective that sometimes things take longer than we want them to. But then also, as my breakout buddy, Steve Dobo, was saying, sometimes he's a physicist, if I understand correctly, sometimes when you bring the right elements together, things can happen quickly. So kind of balancing those two things, but it sounds like you have the flexibility with the program. So can you just confirm that?
Yeah, I'll just say, you can also think of it this way as the flow, is that we're going to very quickly create a sketch of the whole thing.
Okay.
And then if any of you have immediate opportunities, whether they be financing opportunities, development opportunities, launch opportunities, we will support you in that. And at the same time, help flesh out all the other aspects of the sketch. So it may be that some of you are going to, I mean, of course, the projects will be in different phases, but all of you will benefit from really fleshing out the entire framework, really from that regenerative perspective throughout the year. But there won't, we will be sure to be able to respond to support each of you with whatever opportunity arises.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
And as you know, a year in a startup goes by very quickly.
Absolutely. I do.
Thank you, Kimberly. And we have Anna.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that you're doing this, regardless or not if I'm going to join, but I really see it's a huge service. And my question is, so one is, so I'm sitting in Sweden, and we have different law structures and so on around businesses, and I'm wondering, so what are your, so you work with lots of different countries, I assume, already, but do I need to have support here as well if I would kind of use the startup support from you? Would I also need to have startup support from here to get the kind of how it's connected to the Swedish context?
Yeah, so maybe I can jump in here. If you're talking about the legal context, we can provide general advice, since I'm not a lawyer in Sweden and Tonya is not either. We have experience all over the world, but usually for startups, there are small business associations that can provide some support or just guidance. Happy to look into that with you, but since I'm not qualified there, I can't, for example, help you incorporate there. But so, yeah, we have clients all over the world that we guide through processes, so we can help, but I don't have the Swedish legal background. So from the legal point of view, I feel like that's the case. From an operational and other point of view, that's more general and universal. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, great. And then my second question is very practical. So all the courses I've taken so far with you has been on times that have been very nice to work from a European perspective. Is that the same with this, or is 1 year of staying up in the nights is not preferable for my health?
Yes, our intention is to offer the courses in a time zone that accommodates the Americas as well as Europe and Africa, because that's where our team is based and where we're able to deliver as much support as possible. Of course, we have a wish that that one day we will be able to deliver internationally. Well, it is those. Yes. Jeff, I don't know if you want to jump in, because I think also we do have a little bit of flexibility around that. But to answer your question around Sweden, we will be able to support that time zone.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, I think we'll also be trying to arrange the peer-to-peer learning according to time zone, depending on all the projects that we come to. So as Alex mentioned, most of the coursework will be similar to what we do now. It's well suited for the Americas, Europe, and actually Oceania. Just because it's a day later, but it works out pretty well. The one area that we likely, unless we get a lot of interest from, is Asia and India and kind of that time zone.
Yeah, we definitely want to do our best to accommodate everyone who's interested. And so depending on the interest, we do plan to adjust and evolve. And that is the nature of living systems, is being responsive to our community and their needs. And so that's part of what we intend to do in this process, is learn what the needs are and evolve based on what they are. I see one more hand. Bob, would you like to jump in? Oh, Bob, you are muted. We can't hear you. Oh, still muted. I think I can. Oh, you did unmute.
I got it.
You got it.
Yeah. So I'm keen to be part of this program. I initially had a misunderstanding, and that I thought I could do this just by myself. It is my intention that what I'm starting up is going to have associates, so that'll happen reasonably fast. So I'm just wondering whether I need to pull together a team before I join, or whether just that intention to develop a team is going to be enough. So that's one question.
Yes, I can jump in. You are more than welcome to participate if you don't have a fully fledged team yet, but you have the intention to, absolutely, you are invited. We would love to have you.
Thank you. Now, the other one is whether I'm able to get a scholarship and or just finance in terms of paying off over time. Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. Yes, so we are offering some financial aid, and you're more than welcome to include that. There's some questions in the application process, and if you'd like to just include more details about your needs, we would welcome you to do that. Our goal is to honor the unique needs of our community, and so we look forward to hearing what yours are and how we can accommodate.
Right, thank you. And the time right now is pretty good for me. I'm part of John's program as well, and it's not quite so flash, but never mind.
Yeah.
Where are you, Bob?
I'm in New Zealand.
New Zealand.
So yeah, so John's program starts at about 4 o'clock in the morning for me.
Yeah. We're going to destroy your
But
health.
that's okay.
Lack
I'm an
of
early
sleep.
bird. No, it's not going to destroy my.
But you probably didn't get back to sleep after today.
No, I was fine. I mean, yeah.
I heard there was an epic discovery dialogue in John's course today. In the Introduction to Regenerative Economics course, there was an amazing discovery dialogue, which you will also all have access to as a part of the program.
Yeah, Jude was very special.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, everyone. Well, are there any other questions or anything we can support you on today? Awesome. Well, if there are none currently, we're going to close out. And so just want to thank you all for spending time with us. We are grateful that you are interested in the Incubator Program. I'm going to drop a link to the webpage in the chat. The applications are open through October 15th. We would love to invite you to apply. We'd love to see you there. If any other questions pop up or you want to speak with one of our team members, you can email us at team@inrhythm.co. And yes, Vale, happy to speak with you. If you would like to send us an email, we can schedule a time to talk through your unique context. We would love that. If anyone else has that need to, just reach out. Yeah, we're available to connect and support to get you the clarity that you need to figure out how to apply, if you want to apply, if it's a good fit, all of that. Happy to talk through that. Yeah, I think, team, anything else you want to add?
Not me.
Thank you all for your interest, and thank you for all the work you are all doing in the world.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Get a flavor of that today. Thanks.